Hello, here Al Nilein News as we cover the breaking news from Sudan.
Professor Suleiman Dubelo, chairman of the Sudan Peace Commission, stated that the events unfolding since the outbreak of the war were unexpected, describing what has occurred as a systemic destruction and moral crimes. He noted that these actions have led to large-scale displacement of millions of Sudanese, both internally and abroad, in what he considers one of the worst humanitarian crises in Sudan's modern history. Speaking to journalist Hassani Bashir on the program African Harvest on Al Qahira News, Dibelo added that the capital Khartoum has suffered near total destruction. He pointed out that the majority of citizens were forced to flee their homes, either becoming internally displaced or migrating to neighboring countries and various Arab and African nations, including Egypt, Saudi Arabia, the Gulf states, Ethiopia, and South Sudan. He emphasized that this diaspora reflects the magnitude of the catastrophe that had struck Sudanese society. The chairman of the Peace Commission further stressed that this crisis should not be reduced to merely a war between two military factions, as suggested by some international misleading descriptions. Instead, he asserted that what occurred was armed rebellion against the state that escalated into large-scale war, leaving behind massive destruction in the capital and other regions. He called for more comprehensive understanding of the nature and trajectory of the crisis to pave the way for ending the war, restoring state institutions, and rebuilding what has been destroyed. Egypt and Sudan have announced the resumption of river transport services between the two countries after a 6-year hiatus. Experts view this step as a move that supports the voluntary return of Sudanese citizens and contributes to boosting trade and the movement of goods, therapy strengthening economic cooperation between Cairo and Khartoum. According to the chairman of the Nile Valley Authority for River Navigation, the Sinai's voyage to Wadi Halfa serves as the starting signal for the full return of river navigation between Egypt and Sudan in the coming days. The Nile Valley Authority for River Navigation is a joint Egyptian-Sudanese government entity established in 1975, specializing in the transport of passengers and goods between the High Dam and Wadi Halfa ports. As reported by the Sudan news agency SUNA, Chairman Tamam affirmed Egypt's support for joint projects with Sudan, stating that his country is keen to overcome any obstacles, particularly in transport projects, to ensure the free movement of people and goods between the two countries. Sudan is counting on the participation of Egyptian companies in early recovery efforts and post-war reconstruction. Informed sources have revealed that Cairo is seriously considering abandoning the Quartet mechanism, which includes the United States, Egypt, the United Arab Emirates, and Saudi Arabia, in favor of focusing on reviving the Jeddah process. According to reports, the Egyptian leadership clearly conveyed this shift to Mossad Boulos, the US President's senior advisor on African affairs, during his recent meetings in Cairo with Foreign Minister Badr Abdelati and President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi. This indicates an Egyptian desire to streamline negotiation channels to ensure greater effectiveness. In related context, reports suggest that the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia is working through a quiet and discreet channels to revive a diplomatic momentum similar to previous Jeddah track, in an attempt to break the current deadlock. The prospects for this new movement are bolstered by the entry of Sultanate of Oman into the crisis as a pivotal and trusted player. Muscat recently hosted consultations between the chairman of Sudan's Sovereignty Council, General Abdel Fattah al-Burhan, and Sultan Hatem bin Tariq, which focused on the possibility of de-escalating tension with the United Arab Emirates.